Hey guys, Hans here with XProHeli again. We're talking about the XP2 today, which is the flagship. Basically, this thing was sort of where we started. We've done a lot of upgrades. Even in the last 3 months, we've done a lot of upgrades and a lot of tuning and testing, getting these things dialed in even better. With this 12-inch prop and the 2217 motors, we're getting a almost 15-minute flight time, which has been really nice. I think the first one that we had out, we only got like a 7-minute flight time, so we're definitely moving forward with the technology. And we've got this new DYS gimbal, which I'm really in love with. I think it's really amazing. And with our XPG, which is a 2-axis gimbal, if that's something you'd want to work with, that thing is solid as a rock, and we have not had any problems with those things, you know, other than people crashing them. So this is the Pro Pack, and it comes with everything that you need to fly. You got all your batteries and your chargers, extra props, your radio, your FPV, everything fits inside the case, ready to fly. So you can basically show up at a park like we are today with your case and make sure your batteries are charged and you're ready to fly. So let's go out in the park. I'm going to show you how to calibrate it and go over a little bit of safety, and we'll fly for a little bit. Okay, we're here at the field. We're going to do some flying. I do want to talk about safety really fast. Please take the time to teach yourself on a simulator or with a toy how to fly one of these things before you just go out and try to take one of these up, because you're going to end up crashing it and hopefully not into anybody or anything. So we're out here in this big field. We're going to go ahead and do some practice flying today. I'm going to show you how to calibrate the compass on this, because the last time, there's a little bug, last time we were out flying, we were about 20 miles away from where we are now. So just to kind of give it, it's a good practice just to go ahead and calibrate it if you do move far away from where you were flying last. So we'll go ahead and do that. Radio on, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so you can see there's a little LED light right here from the NASA, and when we plug this guy in, you'll see that thing start to flash, and it's trying to get compass signals right now. So it's basically trying to find GPS signals, but right now I want to calibrate it. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and flip my switch right here between manual and GPS mode. And then when I do that, this light is going to go to a solid. So I'm going to do this 6 times really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you can see that this light is solid yellow. Means it's ready to calibrate. Now, I would typically stand this way, but I'm going to go ahead and just show you how it works. So I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to spin it around just like this, as flat as I possibly can and as smooth as I can. Now you can see that my light has turned green. So now you want to tip the nose down and you want to spin it this way, and then your light's going to stop being green and it's going to go to the flashing green, which means it's ready to fly. Okay, now that we've got it calibrated and it's ready to go, I do want to talk about the battery real quick. We do have this set up so that it can kind of move back and forth underneath here. So wherever your balance is, you can see if I pick it up right now, it's really front heavy. So if you wanted to balance this thing, you basically pick it up in the middle, and you can see right there it's pretty well balanced. Let's say it was still front heavy, I could just move the battery back a little bit. Now you can see it's a little back heavy. So you'll figure this out, and once you kind of get an idea of where it goes, it's going to be the same for all the batteries because they all weigh the same. So the 6150 will go there. Another thing I want to do is I want to plug in my low voltage beeper, and this is going to basically plug in. There's only one way to plug it in, so don't worry about plugging it in wrong, but you'll know when you plug it in right. So you want to plug it in towards the end. See that loud beep? And then that gives me my voltage on each cell, and it tells me what my overall voltage is. So that'll keep me honest and hopefully keep me from crashing or draining my battery too low, and then it won't charge up after that. So cool. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my gimbal now. I had to unplug it to do my calibration, so we've got a couple little power leads up here that are fairly easy to get to, and I'll just plug that in real quick. I went ahead and unplugged the battery. It's better to turn on your GoPro and hit record before you actually get your gimbal going, because after it's going and you go in to turn something on, you could screw it up and make it start shaking. So we'll go ahead and turn on our GoPro. And I'm going to go ahead and hit record. And I know that when I get into editing, I'm going to have to cut out a whole bunch of this stuff in the beginning, but we're going to go ahead and plug in the battery. The radio's turned on. And then I'm going to turn this around just so you can see this light sequence right here. Right now I'm in GPS mode. And what it's trying to do is it's trying to find GPS signals. So every time you see the green light flash, that means it's detecting that there's a satellite. So ideally what you want to do is have this all green flashing lights, because that means that we have all the GPS signals that we need to fly and get all the function of that to work. So you can see the GoPro's not straight either. It's off a couple poles. So when that happens, you can just turn it manually, put it so that it's going straight, and it'll stay there. It knows that it should be there. So that's all good. So we have our low voltage. We've got our green lights flashing. We got power. Looks like we're ready to go fly. I've gone ahead and I plugged in my battery. I went ahead and hit the power button right here. We've got a signal from my GoPro. When you do put your GoPro on the quad, you're going to want to plug the little GoPro plug in there so you get your video signal, and then we're good to go. Just to go over the switches really quick, this is your manual altitude GPS. Most of the time we don't even set up the manual because it's pretty tricky to fly in that. With the gimbals these days, we don't really need to have that really smooth flight. And then you've got your home lock course lock switch right there, and your return to home switch right here. And this switch right here is the tilt for the camera, so you can see that the camera's moving when I do that. And it looks like that is working just great. It's a good idea when you're flying these things to take a few steps back. I mean, it's not a good idea to be standing right next to it, just in case it does catch a leg when it's taking off or something. Just get good distance, 20 feet between you and the quad at least, and then we'll be ready to fly. So I'll go ahead and take off here. I'm in GPS mode, so we'll have to go a little bit above 50% throttle for it to start taking off. And it tried to go a little to the right there when I took off, and I just had to do a little adjustment and move it to the left to keep it from doing anything weird. But when you're in the grass like this, sometimes things like that can happen. So you can see the gimbal working, everything seems to be working well. We do have the 3-axis on there. And you can see that working too. As you're turning it, it's going to smooth out those yaw moves really well. We're going to go ahead and do some function tests and kind of see how this whole thing works. And we're going to try doing some home lock course lock things. So let's go ahead and take it out. I can try flipping into this home lock course lock. So 2 clicks down to the home lock is where you would want to be. So this is nice just in case you are, let's say that you're way out here and we get it too far away from us, and it gets really small really fast, as you can see. So I can't tell which way it's going. I got it all turned around. So I'm going to flip it into the home lock, and we'll just pull back on the stick, and no matter which way it's going, you can see I'm actually turning it, rotating it, and it's still coming back towards us as we're doing that. So it's flying as if the back end was towards us. So I don't know if you can see that very well, Peter, but this is a pretty cool setup. I'd like to use this instead of the return to home most of the time. But again, I'm bringing it back towards us, and I'm just pulling back on the right stick, and no matter what orientation it is, it's still coming back towards where it took off from. So we'll flip out of that, and we're going to go ahead and fly it out. Same thing, let's say that we get it out too far, we lose our orientation, we're not sure where it is. And I can't tell right now where it is because it's down in the trees and it's really hard to see. I'm going to flip it into return to home. You can see the yellow light start flashing. It's going to go up to about 60 feet there. It's going to turn itself around. There it goes. And it's going to try to come back where it landed, which I took off behind us, so it's going to kind of go behind us here. Now I can flip out of this mode at any time I want to. So now it's got kind of a position where it took off from. It's pretty close. As soon as it finds that position, it's going to start descending. Just like that. Working like a charm. And anytime I wanted to, I could flip out of it, but you want to make sure if you do flip out of it, you have at least 50% throttle. Otherwise, it's not going to have a throttle input, and it's going to think it's shut down and it's going to drop out of the sky. So we took off from that little oval thingy, and it's going to land itself about 6-7 feet outside of that. Oh, there it goes, landed. So I'm going to go ahead and flip out of that. You can see the green light start flashing. I'm out of the GPS return to home. So if you are a beginner, one of the things that you really want to learn how to do is just go ahead and hover it in front of you. So we'll go ahead and just fire it up, and you can see it kind of when it takes off to the right. But this is what you really want to practice, is just getting this thing in front of you and doing what they call a box pattern. So we're going to make a box, and we're just going to go left, right, forward, backwards until we get into a complete box formation. So right there I did a box. You can do an H, whatever. You just want to know that you have control when you're hovering it in front of you. And then as you start learning to do that, you're going to want to learn how to fly it sideways. So you're going to want to fly this way, turn it around, and be able to fly it this way. And you don't want to have your brain getting confused, and then flying it at yourself is the hardest way to fly. Again, there is the autonomous stuff that will help you, but you really need to know how to do this just to be able to fly safe. So I'm going to go ahead and fly down this row of trees and check this out. Actually, let's go look at the pond real quick.